guys, this is Scott with Adventure Further. Today we're going to do a walk around video. We have a 2021 Jeep Gladiator Eco Diesel. We have it all tuned with a performance tune in it. We are running 43-inch tires, as you can see. We actually have KMC beadlocks with Mickey Thompson Pro XS tires. For off-road, can't really beat it as far as performance. Then we ended up having to do the whole vehicle with an Evo 6.5-inch Enforcer lift. We did coil-over shocks in the front, and then because our payload capacity changes on a regular basis, we actually did coil springs in the rear. With that, we did Evo's long arm suspension lift. They actually had to remount the front control arm, so we had to cut all the stock brackets off. We bought this vehicle brand new, only 300 miles on it. Pretty much went into the shop and got gutted down to nothing, which we do have some photos and pictures of that as when we started. With that, like I said, we cut the control arms off and remounted long arms. Because of how tall the suspension lift is, it's better off-road ride quality, more flex. We're able to go off. We have all of our bump stops set with King bump stops so that my tire gets within about a ½ inch of the fender. These are JCR fenders that are custom done. We actually took the extra lip that was on the flare and cut about 1.5 inches off of the lift to leave a ½ inch lip, which looked a lot nicer in our opinion. And then from there, we actually cut their lights off and we put our own lights on. If you come around this side here, you'll be able to see we actually did tinted strips, so this way you can see the still has like an eyebrow, so you can see that we did this custom here, which turned out really good. And then instead of the fenders having the turn signals in it, we turned the turn signals down to the front bumper. So with the front bumper now, we did the Evo Pro Series bumper with KC highlights lights for the corners and for the front. These we're actually running as fog lights, which the stock fog lights we took out of the bumper and ran in here, running a synthetic rope Warn 10S winch, and that is actually an Evo or Zeon Series 10S winch. Factor 55 fair lead with the ultra hook. Swap that out right away. Then from there we actually did the headlights, went to KC headlights as far as that goes too. Got those. We did the Pro 6 light bar, and then we also did the ditch lights for cruising down forest roads at night, being able to see to the side. And then we did a Cascade Vehicle Systems, I believe that's the name for it exactly. I'm gonna have to correct that, but it's actually a solar panel that goes on top of the hood. So it gives us 100 watts of solar to charge the stock battery for all of our accessories that we're running. And then as far as axles, because we are running 43-inch axles, or 43-inch tires, I'm sorry. The axles, we have a Fusion Kingpin 60 front axle, and we're running the Fusion 2.5-ton steering with the Redneck Ram Hydro Assist ram. And then it's actually a Evo track bar. We're using their track bar with the Fusion 4x4 steering components, tie rod and drag link. And then to top it off, we actually got rid of the stock disconnects and went straight to Apex Designs. They have their quick disconnects. It's actually just 2 knobs that all you have to turn. Push one side down. The minute you get on road, you actually end up automatically locking the other side, which is really convenient. We found it way better than quick disconnects or anti-rocks. With the anti-rocks, you just don't get the stabilization driving down the road, so we actually prefer these Apex Designs. And then with that, we actually had to redo our bump stops. We had to custom make new bump stop where the actual King bump stop comes down. We actually had to readjust those as well, which we have that dialed in perfect. So at full flex, we have about 52 inches of flex. When we flex out the back tire, we'll actually have 52 inches where that back tire will be off the ground, and this front bump stop is fully flexed out. It is a 2.5 inch coilover, running at about, I think, close to 12.5 inches of travel, which is phenomenal for on and off road. We love it. And then we did the Evo inner fender liners as well. Turned out absolutely great. We did paint match. It's Sarge green, but we did the paint match with the rest of the truck. It really sets it off with the vehicle. From there, we actually, if you come around to the side, so we did body armor color match steps with it as well. Really great to get onto the top of the roof because we have alu boxes up top along with Rotopacks. So not only can you do that, once we actually open the door, we have rock slide engineering steps. So if I turn the switch off right now, they act as a rock slider. We have the extra 1/4 inch thick skid plate cover for the rock slide itself. So when we are off-road and we do drag it over rocks, which is very common, it's actually not going to ruin the steps, but you can stop these steps from coming in or out just with the switch on the inside of the vehicle. Otherwise, it'll open and close with the door. So when I want to get up to the top alu box, it's really great. I actually have the step. Not only do I have the step, I have another step so I could get all the way up to here to get into our recovery gear, which is wonderful. And then from there we have our Rotopacks and our water packs in the side there that we're able to do. And because this vehicle is far from stock, the lift is the 6.5 inch like we said, but it truly lifted this vehicle probably close to a foot. With it being lifted that high, the extra step to get into the vehicle is definitely a must, along with the steps, the door steps to get onto the roof. If we walk a little bit further, come to the rear, we actually have the rear anti-rocks, which is a great thing because it gets rid of the stock sway bar in the very back, which hangs off about a foot. And we like to go off-road quite often. That's most of the travel that we do, going to Moab, going out to the west coast, along with southern Utah, Arizona. That's usually some of our favorite spots to go to. We have the 2.5 inch King shock. They're all adjustables front and rear. Off-road to on-road makes a world of difference. I actually adjust them when we get off-road because we disconnect sway bars. I turn the stiffness all the way up to as hard as it goes. It really helps with sway control. And then the springs in the rear here actually are one of the coolest things of all with this whole build, because the stock build does not allow, with the lift kit that comes with it, it only allows for like 600 to 700 pounds of payload. But because we went a little bit heavier and the payload on these springs, I actually did order these springs and I custom ordered them for 1,300 pounds of payload capacity, which came out to be absolutely perfect. Ride quality is phenomenal. And so going down the road, it cruises really, really good. Off-road, it holds the load really, really good. I'm way more stable. If you actually go with the stock coil spring that comes with the kit, I shouldn't say stock, but stock with the kit, it's with the 6.5 inch coil spring. It's just every time you come to a bump, it just bounces because there's not enough rigidity in the spring. And so with the extra payload in these springs, I don't get that going off-road. It's absolutely tremendous. And I got to put a plug in there for Coil Spring Specialties. Kevin over there, I worked with him to dial it in 100%. Yes, it's not the cheapest factor for getting rear springs, but at the same time, when you're doing a build and you want to have great quality and a great product, that is the way you go. And so these springs were engineered directly for me. If someone else needs something similar to it, they will engineer that spring for your vehicle. You add up all the weights in the back of your truck, the tire, the fridges, food, tents, whatever it is, add up all those numbers, give those to them, let them know what you need, and they'll actually design a spring specifically for you. As you can see here, we actually have an AT Overland topper, which could not be happier with. We actually got this, it's AT Overland, but we did get it through Equipped Outfitters. Morgan there was absolutely awesome to work with, took care of us the whole entire way, was great to deal with there. This is an actual AT Habitat. It's AT Overland is the actual company, but AT Habitat is the tent. We went for the color matched top, which in our opinion, just matched our build 100%. It was spot on. We love it. With that, we did some lights over here. We did some Baja Sports. So this way, when we're going off-road at night or pulling up to a campsite in the dark, we found these very handy that we're able to turn those on and it lights up the whole entire side of the vehicle. Could not be happier with that. It turned out great. Wired those into our Vostich Switch Pro, I guess you want to call it, on the dash, which we get into that a little bit later here and show you that. This system works really great. So we're a family of 4. We have a family of 4. We have my wife and I and 2 younger girls. All 4 of us can sleep up here, no problem. It's one of the only camper designs for a family that you're actually able to do it in. So my wife and I sleep on this far side here, and then there's actually multiple removable panels on this side. Even with the panels in the vehicle, with them sleeping, it still leaves us 2 foot in between to get in and out of the vehicle. If we have to get out in the middle of the night, which we've had Bear in the middle of the night tried walking off with our alu boxes, then I can actually hop down, get out, and come out, which is really, really great. Canvas, everything else, rain, no problem there. Moisture wise, we didn't have any problems with wicking moisture through the tent to our pillows or anything like that, so I can't say anymore. Mario is really great there. Spoke with him directly when I was actually placing the order. And then we actually took it one step further from there. We actually went with Goose Gear interior, National Luna fridge. It's a 50 liter with the fridge freezer option. Then we got Goose Gear installed as well, and went with a Cook Partner stove on the very end of it here with the slide out tray. So the fridge is just a little bit taller than the would have actually been, just because it's about 4 inches taller with having the tray for the stove. But we figured that this was a very, very good option that we wanted to have, where we could cook and have the fridge out at the same time. So if you just need to quickly get into the fridge to get something while you're cooking, this was definitely a great option. Along with that, we did the full, we actually have a screen net for the bugs because we do camp year round. We're actually in Wisconsin. We actually camp year round. So snow, whether it's in the snow or the fall, the summer, the bugs get to be pretty bad. We actually custom made our own screen with magnets here in the very middle that the minute you get in, it opens and closes. Really, really great. So I'm going to slide this aside here so you can actually get a better shot of what it looks like. So here's our Goose Gear drawers, platform drawers. We put a bunch of our flashlights and gear in there, knives and stuff like that. And then here in the bottom, we just have all the other necessities that we run with. So it's a nice option there. And then we are running a 200 amp lithium battery inside that we have tucked inside the cabinet over to the far right side in the front there. We then have tons of storage above the fridge, in front of the fridge. We have a Julka that we can run with. That works really great. And then we also got the Truma. We opted, when we did the order for the AT Habitat, we actually got the Truma heater because we camp in the winter and in the snow and we're in Wisconsin. We like to have another source of heat. Generally we run a diesel heater, but when we run the diesel heater, sometimes it's nice just to have the supplemental heat, so it's not uncommon for us to sometimes run 2. With that, our power source for the whole rear, it's all Bluetooth. We did the RedArc Red Vision system. Can't be happier with that. It's really a great system. We're looking at doing a water tank underneath the rear of the vehicle, along with an auxiliary diesel tank underneath the vehicle. We're still in the works of that. So if anybody knows for a diesel tank that they're coming out with for the Gladiator, we're waiting on American long range tanks. Haven't came up with it yet. Not for the diesel option. Really hoping they come out with it soon. But if someone else has a lead on one, let us know, because we definitely need it with all the traveling we're doing. The extra fuel economy would be great. So, but the RedArc Red Vision is definitely a great added thing. When we get those, we're actually going to drop the tank sensors in for the RedArc so that we can have on-demand tank levels, I guess, if you want to say. So hopefully that'll come through here soon where we can do that, and that's a great option. The 200 amps of lithium is wonderful. We pretty much can go a full 3-4 day weekend in the summer, no problem, without even having to plug in our solar panels. which we do have solar. We have 400 watts of solar, portable panels. We generally like to camp in the shade. Here in Wisconsin, there's a lot of tree cover, so we're able to camp in the shade and put our solar panels in the sun. Keeps the tent a little bit cooler, which is a nice option for us. And then actually, if we shut this stuff up here, kind of show you, this is how the slide works. And then this is actually how our screen works. So these magnets just come in like this. You just connect there and then the rest of them connect. That is an awesome option. But I'll show you this tire carrier. So we have a tire carrier that currently is not for sale, but we have a prototype of one that most likely may make it to the final market as far as that goes. But this is holding a 43-inch tire, which everybody's going to say that's insane, which it really is. So happy that we have this. But this is what it looks like shut up with a 43-inch tire on the back. Obviously it's very large, but what the greatest thing about this is that it removes the stock hitch. So with all the off-roading we're doing and rock crawling that we do, they say with Gladiators the one thing that hits first is usually the hitch. With this kit, takes off almost 5 inches. It lifts the hitch up 5 inches, so you need a bit longer drop hitch, which is a little bit of a hassle to come up with something like that because we have an off-road trailer that we tow on a regular basis with it. But there's the flip-up license plate, so when you're towing, the license plate comes up. The minute you pull the pin out, license plate flips back down and you're back to legal. But the option for the ground clearance in the back, instead of bobbing the bed immediately, which we couldn't do in our instance because of the top, this is a next great option, and we still have towing capabilities that most people when they take the hitch off for ground clearance wouldn't have. So we're very happy with that. And then we also have the lights here for our off-road trailer. This is actually for our accessory power to charge our batteries off the truck alternator, and then the lights are actually on the other side. And that's just an Anderson 50 connector. Alright, so this is actually a Fusion Dana 80 rear axle. It is really beefy. It's got a 4-inch axle tube compared to the standard 3/4 ton axles that you would get from aftermarket axle companies, or 3.5 inches. This is the next step above that. It's a 4-inch and it is extremely beefy. The rear pinion, I believe, is somewhere around 10 inches. And the brakes that are coming on it are all 1 ton, like a dually brake setup as far as that goes, so you have plenty of stopping power. I mean, this rig weighs, fully loaded with all the gear, right around 8,500 pounds with these 43-inch tires, and so stopping it is definitely something that you need to have great brake power. We have no problem stopping it with this rear axle nor the front axle, which is a Kingpin 60 Fusion. So a big thanks to Fusion 4x4 for setting us up with these axles. The customer service couldn't be better. Talked to him multiple times, told him what we had going on, told him what the build was. So if you guys are looking for something that's really beefy, a really quality company with great customer support, definitely reach out to Fusion 4x4 and let them know that you're looking for a great setup. You can always tell them that Adventure Further has a set of these axles on their JT Gladiator, and that they're running 43-inch tires, and he'll really take care of you to make sure he pins you in the right direction. We're running 73.5-inch rear axles, which is a little bit wider than normal, but I wanted to make sure that we had the clearances that we needed for turning radius in the front and also for the tires, so we had no rubbing going on. So that's one reason why we went a little bit wider than the stock. So, and then for chase lights, we're running the Baja Pro S2 Pros as well for chase lights, the amber chase lights. With the dust and the snow here, it's definitely a must for going down these snowy roads in the winter, these forest roads. And so we like to have those for chase lights. And then we have our backup lights here in the bumper, or actually in the tire carrier, which are nice, very bright too. So when we get to camp, all we do is open that up, or open it up. We turn those on so that when we open up camp, we can see pretty much everything when we're going around. It's really turned out nice that way. Coming over to here, we actually, this is one of the cool things that we added. Originally we were going without a door at all, but we came across this on a post from somebody else, absolutely loved it. So this is where we mounted all the Red Vision. We got the RedArc Red Vision with a 2000 watt inverter. And so we have it all tucked really nice here on the back of the Goose Gear platform. This would have been all wasted space. So glad that we came across that post before we actually got our topper built. It would have been really upsetting because this whole back space would have been unutilized. We actually put our front runner chairs right in here, so when we're going down the road we have quick and easy access to our chairs, which is great. So if you stop for a roadside lunch, pull out the grill, pull out the fridge, you have that. That is awesome. Then we just pull out our chairs. We don't have to go get them and unbury them from somewhere. And then over here is where the Red Vision is, the whole entire control panel. If you can see there, that is a great add-on. We run multiple fire extinguishers. So if you look here, this is actually, I'm pretty sure right there. So Element is a great second source of a fire extinguisher. In our opinion, we have had a vehicle fire by brush. We've never had an electrical fire from anything that we've done, but we did have a brush fire off-road at one point and only had one fire extinguisher. I can't tell you how scary that was with having one fire extinguisher. Luckily, we had a bunch of water jerry cans that we were able to use immediately to get the fire out. It was really close to not, I mean, it almost was a total loss. But luckily, we saved it. We had just enough water. Actually used a couple Gatorades as well to get the fire out. But if I would even had an Element as a backup, that would have been great. It wasn't out of control where I couldn't have got to it. The only thing with these Elements, the only drawback that I say is that most people that see them don't even know what they are. And if they don't know what they are, they have absolutely zero idea how to use them. And I've came across quite a few videos of other people that have been in trouble. And if they don't have a fire extinguisher and someone throws this to them, they usually throw them back. With these are like they last like 4 times longer than a general fire extinguisher. This is a 50-second fire extinguisher is what it boils down to be. It doesn't actually project out like 5 feet, but if you get it close to the fire, it will put it out. And this is actually a class A, B, C, and K fire. So it covers everything from frying pan fire to an electrical fire to a household wood fire, you know, if you start cardboard on fire, and then fluids also. So overall, these are absolutely great to have. They also make a 100-second version of it that we have in our vehicles, but for portability reasons, we have this right here handy. If there's a fire on the back of the vehicle, easy access right there. You light it like a flare, a road flare, sorry. So you light these just like a road flare. You'll actually take the cap off and strike the very top of it. So if you take this cap off here, the very bottom cap, you take the bottom cap off, and all you would do is actually strike it, just like a road flare, right across there. And that's actually what will engage the fire extinguisher from happening. Instead of pulling a pin and pulling a plug, it'll actually, you light it like a road flare. And so this is a 50-second one. They make a 100-second one. Definitely recommend either one of them for backups. We also run a 5-pound fire extinguisher that we leave in the very back seat, along with 2 2.5-pound fire extinguishers. So yes, we do probably go a little bit overkill as far as the fire extinguishers go now, but once you have a fire, it's probably one of the scariest things that could probably happen to you besides an accident in a car or a rollover. As far as a fire goes, very scary. So we are actually over protected with fire extinguishers at this point now, and I prefer to keep it that way. So if anything happens to us or somebody else, we can at least be there to help and take care of that. Okay, so fire extinguisher, that is definitely one you need to learn how to use prior to just buying one, or if someone else hands you one, at least to know how to use this thing. Yes, you can look at the directions and it'll tell you, but when you're in the heat of a moment, it's definitely, I've seen other people have it where they get tossed one of these and they just toss it back because they have no idea. It doesn't have a pin and you can't pull the trigger. So a quick walkthrough of this fire extinguisher. It's an Element fire extinguisher. It's really a great fire extinguisher. It lasts 50 seconds. This is the small one. They make a 100-second. It's good for all types of fires. So to operate it, you pull the top cap off. Here is actually one of the striker points, and it's just like a road flare. Then you pull this bottom off. Here's the other striker, and you strike the two onto each other, and then that's when all of a sudden it doesn't project like 10 feet, but it'll project out say 3 feet, and you would just hold it right towards where the fire's at, and then from there you'll actually just hold it until it's out, until the fire goes out, and it works actually really, really good. So if you look at some other videos putting out a fire with an Element fire extinguisher, it's actually a really good product. It's just the usability of it. People need to know how to use it and operate it prior to using it. So that's the only thing that I have to say. A standard fire extinguisher is definitely nice for that purpose. So, and then along with that, we keep all of our camera batteries. We have this all pre-wired. We actually run Claymore, a lot of Claymore lights and fans and everything. But if you can see up in there, we have our GoPro batteries, we have our camera batteries, 2 sets of camera batteries, and also our drone batteries. We run the DJI Mavic 3. It's an awesome, great drone. And then all of everything is plugged in on switches, so this way at any given time we just walk in here, grab up a camera battery, or charge phones, charge lights. These are the Claymore fans. We love to use Claymore fans. And then we charge our radios through the inverter, our handheld radios. All that stuff is right here at hand's notice. Super simple. Love it. And so this side we actually have the Rotopacks, the water Rotopacks, the diesel Rotopacks. Without having the extra diesel right now, we actually run 4 gallons of diesel at least to get us somewhere, which is really a plus. Cell-Fi, I have the actual antenna disconnected right now, but our cell booster, we do not use WeBoost. We have a WeBoost in one of our other rigs. The Cell-Fi seems to really perform a lot better than the WeBoost, in our opinion. So we run that antenna with that plumbed into the very back of the truck. That's for this antenna here, which is into the stock battery. Works really great. And then we do have a GMRS antenna on the other side, and then we also have FM antenna for doing personal between all of our rigs. We actually have private communications that we're able to use as well. So I think that's about it as far as the build goes. The interior, we actually are running a Stinger head deck. That's on the interior. The exterior, I think we pretty much covered everything except skid plates. That is Venture Motorsports out of Colorado. We actually ran their diesel skid plates. Really great aluminum skid plates. Happy with them. And we're running a Stinger head deck in here, along with Bartech seat covers, Vostitch switch with 67 design mount. And then we have CMM off-road, so you have the dash mounts, the A-pillar mounts for ram balls to do the 1-inch ram balls. We have those mounted to the pillars. And then up top, once again, we have our Element fire extinguisher, along with our mics, and all of our radios are mounted above. That's all taken care of there. We actually have other mounts like MOLLE mounts and stuff on the passenger side, as you can see here. Camera gear is always in here. GoPro stuff is always sitting here. And then in the back, we actually did we'll walk around the other side, but we did a goose gear platform. But as you can see in here, we did the Bartech 2.5 pound fire extinguisher mount for in the back, which works really good, nice and close to the rear door. So if I need it, it's super quick, easy access. That is one great option. And then we did a 60/40 goose gear delete plate on the driver's side. So we have a dog that we carry, she comes with us everywhere. And so that's actually her bed. It was too crammed on the floor for her to try getting into the back seat, and I just felt super bad. So we ended up just getting a 40% seat delete, so she has her own bed, and she loves it. She knows that's her spot. We put her little mat down there, and she does not want to go anywhere without us. So that's a really great add-on. Thank you, Goose Gear, for that. Very happy. And then on top of that, I get to put my tools inside of it. I usually have my jump pack in it. I even have some Windex in it. Sometimes when the windows get so bad off-road, you just got to clean them. So we usually have like some cleaning supplies in there. We're able to do that. And that is actually where my 5-pound fire extinguisher is placed, right underneath there. So if anything happens, obviously if another fire happens, she's going to be the first thing out of the vehicle, and I can easily just push the button, reach in there. If worse comes to worse and I need to get to one extra fire extinguisher, that's my hidden one that in an emergency that I can get to no problem. And then we actually did Dynomat the whole entire floor throughout the whole Jeep. So when we bought this, right from the get-go. 300 miles on it. We gutted the entire interior out of it. There was nothing left of it, down to the steel floor. Dyno-matted it because we knew we were going to be running some loud tires. Yes, these tires do howl. They are not super quiet going down the road. We have 2 sets of tires, a set of 42s and a set of 43s. If we're doing a really, really long road trip, like 3,000 to 5,000 mile road trip, which we just got done with, then we run the 42s. But if we're doing local stuff where we're trailing to events or trailing to Moab or stuff like that, we're absolutely going to run the Pro XS tires. And with that, that's why we actually ran the dyno matting in the floor, so that this way we're able to reduce road noise. And I definitely think decibel wise it did make a difference, so I would highly recommend that. And we did a speaker upgrade. We actually went MB Court speaker upgrade. That's been really good because the stock one was not that great as far as that goes, so we want to do a little upgrade. We do like listening to music as we're driving to take up some of the time being on the road, and so we swapped everything out to MB Court. And after that, like I said, the Vostwitch switch panel, we have 8 switches on the very dash there. That we really, really like the dash switches. I know you can do switch pods and S pods and stuff like that where it's push button, but it's not on the very dash, on the very top of the dash. You have to relocate it. Either you have to find your own spot for it. So either you put it in the ceiling or you put it on the kickboard. And so with that, I just didn't care for it. I wanted easy access right on the dash where I can get to it at any given time for my front and rear lockers, plus all of my lights. So that's why I really like the Vostitch. Haven't had a problem. It's been really good, and want to, we stick with that with all of our vehicles. We kind of retrofit all 3 of them out the same exact way. We have multiple sets of them. We actually run Switch Pro or S pods in our, we have a gray Jeep Wrangler 4-door JKU that we run that in, and then we also have an 18 JK 2-door that we run the same exact switch pod. So our lockers are always at the very end because that's like the last thing you want to use in any situation. So we always put those 2 in the very end of our switch panel, and we have usually 8 switches for each vehicle. So that's been one thing that we've been really happy with. So